Hi guys, Artiar here. So for this video is about for the legendary Abilimon tier list for patch 3.4.5. This is the Pirority tier list for legendary Abilimon. So this tier list will tell you that which Esper should invest the Abilimon to level up the skill level first in PvP content only. The PvE one I already posted earlier. Then for this PvP one, this is only pure PvP, and most consideration will be around beat bout, knockout. Then the sub consideration will be point war and RTA, because the future RTA is going back for the equipment, and the skill up actually matters a lot as well. So alright, so let's go. So we have a few categorized here. So highest priority, which means if you get the Esper, if you want to play him in PvP content, he have the highest priority to get all your Abilimon in order to let that Esper play in PvP content. Then for power wise, it's just that Abilimon doesn't really benefit that Esper a lot, but you want to skill up the Esper because the legendary Abilimon, the skill up actually gives power, and the power stats makes you take your action first in terms of beat bout or knockout. Because if the Esper is the same Esper, let's say I'm bringing Tolan and the enemy have Tolan, then the consideration will be who have the higher resonance, who have higher definite, and the skill up. These three factor will determines who will take the action first, because these three things will increase your power. So let's say you increase your Tolan skill up, then you increase the power, so you have the higher power, so you take the action first, something like that. So your skill up is not because the skill is good, it's just because of power. So this is depends on you. Do you want to level it up or not? Then good to have is like without the skill up it's already working fine, but I would recommend you to actually invest the skill up on him, because it would actually benefits from the Abilimon. Then without still strong is without Abilimon, that Esper is still gonna work fine without the Abilimon. Then for only avatar, which means maybe this Esper, if you are a PvP only player, then this Esper will not be helping you in your PvP content, maybe in PvE content. Alright, so different content, different Esper have different usage, right? So let's take a look. The first one, Suje I will instantly put at the highest priority here. So because if you really want to use her in PvP, her every skill damage from her actually benefits a lot, and not to mention the power as well, and not to mention how strong is she using in PvP content, especially R2 above. R0 already usable as well, just that R2 is where she starts shining, and R6 is where she become broken. Okay, then for Tolan wise, it's actually only for power. You level up the Tolan skill is not because the Tolan skill is good, it's just that you want Tolan to get more power to win in a speed battle. Then for Jin Yu Yao, I would say without skill up, Jin Yu Yao is actually already doing fine, because other than the S2 AP push, not really a lot of thing benefits from it. So I would say if you have a Jin Yu Yao, you can just put her in to be a dispeller. You don't really need to have a skill up to make her functionable. Okay, then for Liam here, I would say it's actually if you want to use Liam in PvP, then he might be a highest priority in PvP, because Liam can be used in PvP. And if you really want to use him, he have to max skill up to be usable, or else he won't be usable without any skill up. Like he needs the passive, he needs the S3 cooldown, he needs the S1 damage to actually make him usable in PvP. So for Liam case, it's like if you want to use him in PvP, he have to be max. Then for Sally, it's very good in PvP, so I would say it's actually because it affects the skill cooldown, and you want Sally to rotate very fast in PvP, so I would say it's actually worth the Abilimon for PvP situation. Then for Elaine, I would say it's only avatar. You won't really use Elaine in PvP content, especially in beat bout and knockout. You won't be using Elaine unless it's like RTA, you can manual the target by yourself, or else I won't recommend you actually invest Abilimon in Elaine situation. Then for Mateo, I would say it's only for avatar. Mateo is mainly used for PvE, right? I mean like Mateo, if you want to use in RTA, is fine. Then maybe if you want to use Mateo in RTA, then maybe it's good to have. But for the main consideration will be beat bout and knockout, then Mateo will not be one of the unit you're gonna use for. Same for Yunchuan is for PvE. Then for Lian, instantly go for the highest priority. You will need the Lian's cooldown. Everything else you need Lian's shield, strength. Everything on Lian is very important. So it's highest priority. Feng Shun as well. Feng Shun is a meta. You need Feng Shun to deal damage, all the buff, all the cooldown. Everything is very important on him. Then for Hilda here, I would say it's good to have here. It's not like she is actually strong without the skill up, but having skill up in Hilda actually matters in terms of beat bound and knockout, because in beat bound and knockout you won't kill the enemy that fast because everyone is rival rune, right? Then Hilda's skill rotation plays a very important role here. So unlike PvE, you can slowly extend the turn by controlling them, but in PvP situation, the faster you can cast S3 and S2, the more advantage you have, because you rotate your S3 even faster. Then for champion, I would say it's good to have. It's like you rotate the skill faster, you deal a little bit more damage. Wait, let me consider a bit. Because champion doesn't really need the skill up to make her function. If you really want to use her in beat bout, all she needs to do is just to boot buff, right? So I would say it's without, it's still going to be strong in PvP, unless you're trying to fight another player who have champion to play a speed battle, then you might need to skill up, or else champion doesn't really need the skill rotation, because the moment you cast S3 or you cast S2, most likely your team is able to cleave them already. If you can't cleave them, then basically your team is already lost, right? Yeah, so I would rate champion here without its skill up, it's still going to be strong. Then for Fushi here, definitely going to highest priority. Fushi is able to play without Embla. If you watch my live stream about the warm-up match, you will see I use a lot of Fushi, nuking Anna, nuking Lian, nuking Mavis, all those stuff, because then every cooldown and every damage from Fushi is very important, right? Because Fushi can ignore shield, Fushi doesn't miss, Fushi deals a lot of damage, it's very strong. Then for Brewster here, sadly Brewster already skilled off from the PvP chat because of the Mavis exists, Anna exists, the Emma meta exists, all those things here, even in the lower tier there, because we have Hengye Emma at the lower tier, we have TA at the lower tier, all those stuff, and Mavis at the lower tier as well, all those new Esper that can actually bypass Brewster's pursuit attack damage already, so no longer that strong in terms of PvP. Then for TA, I would say it's for power. You want to fight in a speed battle, so you want TA to have a higher power. So it's not really that you want TA to skill up, it's more like you want the power from TA. Then for Nama in PvP, it's not really that good in terms of beat bout and knockout, so I would just say it's only for Avatar. Then for Senior as well, I would say it's only for Avatar. Armored wise, Armored is very situational, but I would say it's without is still strong. The reason why is because in knockout there's a specific buff which is called counter attack, right? Every time you get hit, you're gonna counter attack, and this counter attack is actually very strong. And another buff is whenever you deal damage to them, you deal extra true damage, and the true damage there is actually multi-hit. And Ahmed here is a multi-hit Esper, and he can just keep on avataring. So I would say without Ahmed, without any skill up, Ahmed is still going to be pretty decent in terms of knockout. Beat bout not really, but knockout yes. Then for Ashley, I would say Ashley will be without still strong. Like if you are a lower tier player, you might actually use Ashley to steal turn by using the passive, especially when you're fighting enemy who have TA in lower tier. So Ashley, you can just put her just to AP buff your team, right? It's not really like you're using Ashley to deal damage. It's more like you're using Ashley to outspeed enemy team by using the AP push. Then for Ollie, it's actually good to have, especially how good the synergize between Ollie and Mavis can be paired with. So it's actually good to have for all have ability on Ollie to actually use it. Then for Chuyao here, I would say it's the highest priority, not just the power. You can actually compare like Chuyao to put here for the power chasing, but not just that. The damage from Chuyao from S2 in terms of beat bout, and because it's rival rune, everyone's equipment is almost the same thing, then actually Chuyao's damage is dealing pretty good. Pretty, not like OP fighter damage, but the damage from him, the CD reduction from S3, the damage from S2, the powers he's gonna gain from the skill up, is everything else is gonna, the skill up is gonna benefit Chuyao very much. Then for Leora here, I would say is if you want to use Leora in beat bout in terms of Meta wise, she's not really that strong, but if you really want to use Leora, I would say it's good to have some skill up on her just to increase the damage and nuke someone if you really want to use Leora in beat bout. Then for Gaius, same thing, I would say it's good to have if you want to use Gaius in beat bout. Raven have the highest priority because if you really want to use Raven as a cleave team, especially if you pair Raven with Champion, every single damage on her matters. Every single damage, including her S3, including the S2, including the S1, highest priority. Then for Archibald here, if you really want to use Archibald in PvP, especially in beat bout and knockout, having skill up on Archibald really matters because the more damage he's gonna deal, especially his pairing with Mavis, is going to be very, very strong. Right, let me skip up a bit. So Mavis wise, I would say Without is still strong, but you want to pair Mavis with Archibald. Right, so Archibald need Mavis, Mavis doesn't need Archibald, and Mavis doesn't need skill up to be functionable in beat bout and knockout. Okay, then for Genie, I would say its highest priority is because Genie with Chuyao, because of Chuyao existence, Genie is actually becoming very, very strong, especially when she get the Spirit Aegis on herself. She cannot get crit, and every time when she get hit, she's gonna heal herself. Every time she's gonna get hit, she's gonna dispel one debuff because of the Spirit Aegis buff. So Genie will be very, very strong now in terms of beat bout and knockout. Yeah, so you need every single skill up for Genie if you really want to play her in terms of meta wise. Then for Yuran, it's going to be our only avatar. Abigail wise, it's not really that strong anymore, but if you really want to use her, I would still say it's not going to be good, right? So only avatar. Biotina, if you want to use Biotina to counter Wu Yu's team, it's good to have, right? Because Biotina actually shines up a bit now because the existence of Wu Yu, because Wu Yu is a defender and Biotina can ignore that. But in terms for you to actually use Biotina to counter Wu Yu, you need the skill up in Biotina to deal damage to counter Wu Yu, or else it's still not going to be strong. Then for Pharah here, I would say it's without skill up is going to be strong already, because like in lower tier, most of the players are using TA, right? And then TA can actually trigger Pharah's AP boost very easily, especially when R2 as well. Then Pharah doesn't need skill up because Pharah can actually AP push by herself, and then she's gonna just free slam. And the skill up on her is dealing like giving her extra DPS, right? But in my opinion, Pharah is more like a controller to actually deal control damage to freeze. So for my case, I won't really skill up Pharah, but I will still use Pharah if I really want to actually counter TA team or such thing, right? Then for Gabriel here, I would say it's actually good to have Abilimon here, especially if you want to use Gabriel as the immunity, as a bait for Tolan to S3, right? Because Gabriel's definitely have the immunity to provide her to have a chance to actually immune to Tolan's S3. So this is very important, and having the skill up on her can rotate her skill even faster and deal more damage as well, so it's good to have. Then for Hayley, Without is already strong. You doesn't need to play speed fight in Hayley, and Hayley can already does what she able to help you in terms of PvP content, especially now pairing with Wu Yu might be a good thing as well as a defender, right? Not because she's able to provide Ocean Wave. Ocean Wave on Wu Yu is useless, but Hayley is able to disable the enemy's equipment, right? Then for Cecilia here, if you want to use Cecilia, it's good to have some skill up for her for extra healing. Then for Intisa, in terms of Intisa, it's not really that good in PvP unless you're in RTA, but you won't really see a lot of Intisa in beat bout and knockout. Then for Ethan here, you are trying to play a speed battle, right? So I would say it's for power. It's not because of your skill rotation. It's because when you are using, let's say, a team as Tolan plus R2 Ethan, which R2 Ethan casts the S2 first is actually pretty important, because the one who casts S2 first, the enemy will have Spirit Aegis. So let's say my Ethan take the turn first, then I cast S2 first, then only enemies Ethan cast S2, but because Ethan cast S2, it will CD up the whole team. So which Ethan cast the skill first actually matters. Then for Clara wise, if you want to use Clara, it's actually good to have Abilimon on her because of the S3. You need the S3 healing as well. Then for Jinchu will be the highest priority if you want to use Jinchu in PvP content. You need the skill up, you need the Jinchu to keep on rotating the skill, his damage, and then the power also affects as well. Then for Taver here, if you want to use him in PvP, it's good to have some Abilimon on him to actually deal damage. Then for Tangshan is here. Yamato wise is actually have to be R6. Okay, this part here I have to mention, this Yamato here have to be R6, and then it needs Abilimon, especially if you have to pair Yamato with Wuyu. Okay, this is Yamato is special case. He can only pair with Wuyu, right? And have to be R6 and have to be max skill up. Because you want Yamato to take the turn, you want Yamato to have a faster skill rotation to rotate his buff and the damage. Right, so he has the highest priority to actually get Abilimon, but only pairing with Wuyu. This is important. Then for Phantom Sister here, I would say it's only for Avatar now. It's no longer that good. Then for Anna here, have the highest priority. Anna is just doing Anna stuff. Every damage from Anna, from S1, S2, S3, everything on Anna is very important, especially when you are fighting with another Anna team. The higher skill up you have the higher damage to deal to the enemy Anna, and more skill rotation means you get the seed stack faster, the shield stack faster. It's very important. Then for Li Ling, it's only for Avatar. Then for Iliad here, in terms of consideration in knockout and beat bout, it's not really that important, but actually without is already strong. Like if you really want to use him, he doesn't need the skill up since every time he get hit, he's gonna get CD reduction already, so not really necessary to have the skill up, in my opinion. Then for Donna here, I would say it's the highest priority if you want to use Donna in PvP. You need Donna's damage to actually AoE nuke enemies Iki, so it's very important to have skill up on Donna, especially the cooldown as well. You want Donna to actually rotate his skill fast to keep getting his thunder stat to keep AoE nuke the enemy, so it's very important and the highest priority. Then for Tricky wise, it's very good. I would say it's good to actually have some skill up to trigger the S3 and trigger the S1 more often. Then for Changji here, if you really want to use Changji in PvP, especially if you want to pair Changji with Wuyu, it's actually good to have some Abilimon on Changji to be good. And then for Height here, if you really want to use Height, it's good to have. Right, I'm not saying that Height is out of meta. Yes, Height is no longer the meta Esper, but if you really want to use Height in your PvP content, if you have a R6, D6 Height, he still needs the Abilimon to actually be functionable. Then for Embla, especially if you have Embla and Fushi to pair together, having some Abilimon on Embla is good to deal some extra damage, especially whenever the enemy hits your Embla can Avatara in PvP. But Embla must pair with Fushi in beat bout or knockout, or else Embla will just get melt. Okay, then for Wuyu here, highest priority, you need every single skill up damage for Wuyu, not because of the power, it's because of the damage output, how strong the Wuyu is. Without skill up and skill up, the damage from Wuyu is totally different. Okay, then for Nusi here, I would actually say Nusi fell off of the meta a little bit because of the Wuyu exists, because of the AoE. You are actually helping Wuyu to get her stack, but I would still say Nusi is good to have the skill up here, because if you want to use Nusi, you need the skill, you need the CD reduction, which is very important, and she can still be used in knockout in a lot of cases. Then for Valeria, Valeria wise, I would say it's only for Avatar in terms of PvP, unless you are R6 Valeria, which is not in our consideration. Then for the for Mitsuki here, it's actually good to have some skill up if you want to use her in PvP, and she have to be R2 to be functionable in PvP, but it's actually good to have to increase the damage, because every time she pursued, it's actually dealing a decent amount of damage as well. Then for Unas here, it's not because Unas is going to be strong in PvP. If you want to play Unas, you skill up him is for the power. Let's say you are fighting another team with Unas, you want your Unas to be faster, right? So Unas is actually skill up for the power, not because of what he's able to do. Then for Iki here, higher priority. The moment you want to use Iki, you want every single damage from his skill, so every skill up is very important on Iki. Everett, bye bye Everett, you're no longer strong. Then Luis, bye bye. JV, bye bye. Like sadly, they don't really shines a lot in PvP content. Zora as well, Lucas as well, Camille as well, Nora as well, Yuhime as well. 𝐀𝐁𝐈𝐋𝐈𝐌𝐻𝐍 I would say is actually good to have. It's like 𝐀𝐁𝐈𝐋𝐈���� doesn't need the skill up to deal damage in demon mode, but outside the demon mode, the S1 damage, the S3 damage is actually pretty significant, especially the true damage she's able to deal to the enemy team, especially there's a lot of Wuyu now, and you need 𝐀𝐁𝐈𝐋𝐈𝐻's skill up to be dealing more damage to the enemy. And then for Ife here, it's going to stay here for the Ife tier, and then Ophelia will be the only PvP Esper, so won't be using in PvP content. Alright, so this is my highest priority tier list in terms of using legendary ability mod in PvP content only, and this PvP content is mainly considered around beat bout and knockout. Alright, so if you are thinking about point war, maybe like some of these Esper here can have a higher tier, because in point war we have more flexible to actually make our own team, we have more creativity to make our own Esper combo, but main consideration is beat bout and knockout because that's where the main reward are for PvP content. So this is the highest priority legendary ability mod priority tier list, right? Feel free to comment down which part you don't agree or which part you think that they need to have a higher tier or maybe a lower tier. Feel free to comment down and share your thoughts, because every tier and every progress in the game have different perspective and different point of view, right? So yeah, hope you guys enjoy the video and see you guys in the next video. Bye bye. Special thanks for the direct support on the YouTube membership. So for the benefactor of Artiar, which is JenMP, Roses15, 𝐀𝐁𝐈𝐋𝐈𝐌𝐻𝐍, thank you so much for the support. And for the supporter and patron of Artiar, which is louis_schneider, 𝐀𝐁𝐈𝐋𝐈𝐌𝐻𝐍, 𝐀𝐁𝐈𝐋𝐈𝐌𝐻𝐍, 𝐽𝐿𝐴𝑚𝑒r, Ziggy, Kamaruki, Sunwaltz, Rimu, Choni, Von Hexa, Luxley, Roshan Bessie, Antonio Winterspoon, and Noah 𝐻𝐿𝐴𝐋𝐈𝐌𝐻𝐍. Thank you so much for the support and hope you guys enjoy the video. Bye bye.